course, the NFL draft. And boy, you're hearing some really interesting things about some possible movement. And you know, one of the big rumors out there is that the Giants could try to trade with the Patriots to get the number 3 because the Giants are more interested in Drake May than they are J.J. McCarthy. And, you know, I read stuff like that, and obviously there's truth in everything, and maybe that's what the rumors are. But, Don, so the Patriots are willing to go into the season with Jacoby Brissett as their starting quarterback? They're not going to select a quarterback?
I guess they don't like any of the quarterbacks then. Don't take a quarterback for the sake of taking a quarterback. They do not have talent in New England. They've got a complete rebuild in front of them. So what better place to start your rebuild than with your franchise quarterback? What if you don't think any of those quarterbacks are a franchise guy? Then you've got to go someplace else and take the best available player, right? They'd be nuts if they see the next Tom Brady and say, no. We got to build an offensive line. We got to get defensive players. No. What they're telling you, if this is even true, if they trade out of it, they don't like any of the quarterbacks. So that's believable. I don't think there's a consensus outside of Williams that any of these quarterbacks are going to be great.
But in all likelihood, Don, there are going to be 4 quarterbacks taken in the first 5 spots.
Right, well, then
they don't see it, though.
What else am I supposed to conclude?
I guess, unless they're thinking, you know, we need so many things, and we'll move on to quarterback next year, and we'll get, you know, the Giants' 6th pick, and then we'll get a second rounder or a couple of second rounders. I don't know.
No, now that's a possibility. What if you know you're not going to be good? Even if you draft a great quarterback, New England doesn't have talent. They're not going to be the Houston Texans, okay? They're going to draft a quarterback, and that quarterback is going to be Troy Aikman and go 1-15 or whatever because the team's not any good. So maybe they're thinking, I don't like any of these quarterbacks, but next year we believe the quarterback crop is going to be better, and I'd rather make sure that we can get that quarterback than lock ourselves in a quarterback we don't believe in. This is not bread and water. I need milk. I need bread. I go to the store and I buy it. And the more I need it, the less I worry about the quality. But in the NFL draft, I need a quarterback. It's got to be the right quarterback. Not just any quarterback. It's got to be the right quarterback. Otherwise, you know what? In a couple of years, you're going to need another quarterback again. So if you don't like them, then trade the pick. So I can only conclude that New England doesn't like any of these quarterbacks.
And if you're looking to hear the NFL draft, it will be streamed on ESPN New York app tomorrow. Now, here's Sal Pal, our buddy Sal Paolantonio, talking about the Giants and how they are primed to move up for a quarterback.
I think they're trying to move up. It's clear, all indications are that they are in a quarterback hunt. Staying at 6, they probably are not going to get one. By Denver trading for Zach Wilson, what does that tell us? Well, it tells us Denver's in the weeds at the quarterback position for sure. That's number 1. But it also tells us that Denver tried to go up, didn't have enough ammo to do it, and needed an insurance policy that either New England or Arizona was asking for too much. So maybe Minnesota's in the same boat at 11. They won't be able to get up, which means if anybody wants to dance, they may have to dance with the New York Giants. And the Giants may either go to 3 or to 4 to get either McCarthy or Drake May.
Now, there's no way Washington will trade out, right, Peter, from what you're hearing?
They will not.
So they want Jaden Daniels.
Yes.
And Jaden Daniels said he would, Minnesota attracts him.
No, Oakland.
But Minnesota or Oakland. I mean, he really likes Antonio Pierce.
Vegas, not Oakland.
Yeah, he likes Antonio Pierce because he was an assistant in college, but also likes Minnesota's offense. So
I would love if people stopped privately revealing from these players what their deepest, darkest interests would be. What's the point? Who does it help? Are the Commanders going to go, oh, you know what, guys? We wanted Jaden Daniels, but we heard that, deep down, he'd rather be with Antonio Pierce. Maybe we should find a way to get him to Oakland. No, you're just going to end up having the fan base be annoyed with you before you get there. I don't know why this information getting out helps anyone. I read that this morning, and I was like, the word is, Diana Rossini said, the word is, I don't mean to give her the annoying voice. It's the words for the players that deserve the annoying voice. He would be cool with Washington,
right?
But he would really dream of being with Antonio Pierce.
But is that the player that just everybody? The draft has become so monstrous that everybody wants to get information, and there's very little information to get. They have to know the smoke screens.
For example, Michael, have you heard any audio this week from the great Marco Livero about what he's saying?
No, I have not heard of that.
Well, let me see if I can get him. Guys, can we summon Marco Livero? I'm looking to get information if he's heard anything about the Jets or Giants draft possibilities this week. Marco?
The Giants will take a quarterback, but possibly not. They may trade down. They may trade up. Also hearing they may stay at 6.
That is quality information.
Yeah.
There's so much there.
But there's no information. But you've got a billion people trying to get information. So the people that might talk are going to be the quarterbacks. So that becomes a piece of information. I'd rather go to Vegas. Or he doesn't. He likes Washington. It's all nonsense.
Just a couple of days ago, the expert Marco Livero reached out and told us his thoughts on what the Commanders would do at 2. I got to ask then, Marco, because we don't get a lot of draft experts on the show. My Washington Commanders picking 2 overall. What do you sense?
I think it's an absolute lock. They will make a selection.
Big information.
Now, let's listen to Ryan Clark, who gives you more than Marco Livero does.
But Marco gave you everything.
Ryan Clark doesn't think the Giants should trade up for a quarterback. Here's Ryan.
To me, you take wide receiver Malik Neighbors. No, I think we have
not the quarterback.
Not the quarterback. Not the quarterback. Because you gotta love the quarterback, right? The last time this team picked at 6, Daniel Jones was sitting there, and they picked Daniel Jones because that's the quarterback that they had to take. That's the quarterback that they settled on, and that's the reason you're in this position again. Let's not let history repeat itself. People say that success leaves footprints. Well, you know what else? Failure leaves chalked out bodies, right? So let's make good decisions based on what we've seen in our history. If the quarterback's your guy, you get him. If he's not, you pick a good player at that position.
Now, I have heard from several people about a month ago that the Giants really love Drake May more than they love J.J. McCarthy. I just don't know how they get him unless New England is not high on him. Here's Mel Kiper Jr. about how he feels about Drake May. This was on DNR this morning.
I think he needs a little time. I think he's got a ton of talent. This year didn't go the way he wanted late in the year. That's why he's not going number 1. He could have challenged Caleb Williams, I thought, with a great year. He didn't have that kind of season. He's got to work on his accuracy, consistency, shorten up and then tighten up that delivery a little bit. He's 21 years of age. When he gets in a rhythm, he's lights out. He can move. He's tough. He's smart. He's very coachable. He wants to be great. So there's really a lot to like. That's why he's the 6th highest rated player on my big board. But to say he's better right now or more highly rated than Caleb Williams never happened. I couldn't put him ahead of Jaden Daniels because Jaden had the great year and he has a great skill set. Drake May has the skill set but didn't have the great finish. That's why Jaden got the nod. So I think he deserves to be the 3rd pick overall to New England.
All right, so let's see if New England likes him. As Don said, they're not going to take him if they don't like him. The fact that they're even thinking about trading doesn't mean that they love him. Because if you love him, you stay there at 3 and you take your quarterback for the next 15 years.
It does just feel like everybody's got different opinions on all these quarterbacks except Caleb Williams, and he's going number 1. So do you just take a quarterback for the sake of taking a quarterback? You can't do that. Now, Clark was right. You have to take the quarterback that you love. If you don't love him, you take the best available player. It's not like the Giants do not have a quarterback. You may not love Daniel Jones. A lot of people don't. But they do have a quarterback that took a team to the playoffs 2 years ago. If you get a wide receiver, you could help Daniel Jones in this year in which you're paying him $40 million. So the consolation prize of not liking a quarterback, there's talent out there that can help you win now. So... And I still think the Giants are in the evaluation process of Daniel Jones because they have one more year to see what they can do with the right weapons, with the right health for him, to see if they're going to let those last 2 years of the contract kick in. So if you don't love a quarterback, Michael, do you just take it for the sake of it? Or do you say, I'm going to try to make Daniel Jones the best quarterback he can be in 2024, and maybe, just maybe, we can crack the code on this kid, and we won't need a quarterback?
And if the Giants don't take a quarterback, think about this. If there are 4 quarterbacks taken in the first 4 picks, or the first 5, the Giants are sitting pretty to get the second best non-quarterback that's in the draft. Mm-hmm. The second best, whichever way they want to go. Wide receiver, offensive lineman. The 6th pick is a good pick.
And the feeling is going to be that it's probably going to be Neighbors. And there are some people that think that if Harrison Jr. wasn't Marvin's son, that maybe Neighbors would be the number 1 wide receiver. So you would get yourself tremendous quality at 6. It's just... this whole idea, and I'm wondering if a lot of general managers are buying into this. Mike, I need a quarterback. Was there any indication at all when the season ended that all of these quarterbacks could be taken immediately in the top of the first round? McCarthy has jumped up. Now, we're hearing, Penix might be taken in the first round. Where you're hearing rumors that he might go as late as the second round, possibly. Is it just a smokescreen, or are these general managers just so desperate for a quarterback they're willing to take a chance on the one position that can get them fired?
It's funny. Andrew Brandt, who used to be, I believe, the president of the Packers, now he's very active on social media, he said right about now, teams are in their war rooms laughing at what the mock drafts have them doing.
Oh, yeah.
Nobody knows anything. We're trying to read the tea leaves.
There's two teams that could be telling you the truth.
The Bears.
The Bears and the Commanders.
Right.
Because everybody knows that Williams is going number one, so the Commanders become the de facto number one. And if they like Daniels, they can tell the world they like Daniels because they don't have to worry about it. They don't have to send up any smoke screens because they don't care what's going to happen at 1. Everybody knows what's going to happen at 1. It's after that where it becomes very interesting. Are the Patriots going to take a quarterback? Are they going to trade? What's Arizona going to? It's all. I mean, did you hear the absolute yo-yo conversation earlier this morning about the possibility of the Chargers taking a quarterback because the Vegas odds changed? Are we out of our minds? Are we out of our minds?
Well, this is why there's a little disagreement. Can I be honest with everyone? There's a little bit of push and pull here at the radio station between the three of us and how other people view draft coverage. Everything that you're saying right now is why I'm not that into it. It's because it's mostly malarkey. It is. It's mostly just people have to fill the time between the end of the season and the draft, when the reality is we don't know anything at all. And then once we even get the players, guys, then it becomes fun to speculate, and you still don't know until you see anything.
Because I do enjoy the draft. But it's this stuff that there's a word I want to use. I think I'm allowed to use it, but I'm not going to do it.
You want to send it to me and I'll tell you?
No. Just, what's the first letter?
M.
Malarkey? I just said it.
No.
And second letter?
Well, it's just something that...
Manure?
Well, it's Tonka truck.
Oh, okay.
Because that's what we're doing. Because he was saying about the pushing and pulling. If you think about it.
Mental enjoying yourself.
Yeah, exactly. It's that's all it is. Because then what happens is, the odds now went to 6. Apparently, it was like 100 to 1. It's gone to 6 to 1 that the Chargers are going to take a quarterback, which is complete idiocy. But now that's out there. So now there's a conversation about, well, maybe they're going to trade Justin Herbert. Can the Giants maybe make a deal? Now we're having a conversation about Justin Herbert being a Giant? I mean, they're giggling. There's people in the NFL looking at us and laughing right in our face.
Don't believe anything
that we're having this kind of, like, look, that we could throw pap out there and they'll smear it on their face because they're animals. I don't want to buy into it. There's no reason in the world that these teams are going to tell you what they're going to do, like I said, unless you're the Bears or the Commanders that are locked in.
Now, the Jets have the 10th pick. And so for a long time now, it's been, it could be Brock Bowers, the tight end from Georgia, who's supposed to be top of the line. But then I was reading stories today that the hit and miss ability of taking a tight end in the first round is mostly miss. So remember Pitts, who got taken by Atlanta?
Yeah.
First year he was great. Last 2 years has been like pedestrian. You look at Kittle, 3rd round. You look at Kelsey, 5th round. They're saying that you don't waste the 10th pick that the Jets have on somebody like Brock Bowers, who is still unbelievable, but tight ends are tight ends.
But here's the thing. Let's say he is Pitts and has a great first year. That's a great first year with Aaron Rodgers, who could be in his last year.
Right, and that was Pitt's only year with Ryan.
Right, but so are the Jets really thinking long-term with this pick, or they're thinking who is going to help us win in 2024 with Aaron Rodgers? I wonder if you told them, listen, Bowers he's going to be a Pro Bowler. He's going to be amazing, but he is going to, excuse the expression, peter out later in his career.
Ouch. Would
the Jets still take him because in 2024 he'll be at his best?
I don't even know if they'll have a franchise when Rodgers retires.
It's not. It's hyperbolic what you're saying, but it's in that. They're going
to start from zero.
But what are you supposed to do?
Right, you got to go for it all now. Now here's Mel Kiper on DNR, and he said, should the Jets consider trading down from 10?
Yes, I think moving down is the smart move. Get back at 2. You think about who they could get. Maybe Utanu is there when they move down. Because certainly those other tackles could be. J.C. Latham is a name I didn't mention because I keep hearing he could go 5th overall to the Chargers from Alabama. He's my guy. He's the guy I've been on all along. So I think if you want the Utanu because of the versatility, the next best tackle from my ratings is J.C. Latham, the right tackle out of Alabama. I keep hearing 5 to the Chargers, or if the Chargers move down, they would look at him. So Latham is one that I think you have to put in that top group. So if the Jets move down, say, and Latham was still there, I'd jump at that opportunity to bring him in. I just don't think he'll be there on a trade down off of 10. Who could be there would be the guys I mentioned. Fashanu, Fulaga, guys like that. I think Mims would be guys on trading down. I don't think you trade off of 10 and get J.C. Latham. I think he's too highly rated right now.
And finally, Mel talked about with DNR, the market for Brock Bowers.
Some teams I'd heard could be looking to move up to get him. Indianapolis. There's another team that I'm not sure, but I've heard from teams there's another team that's maybe making some moves. There's a couple teams maybe looking to get ahead of the Jets to move up and get Brock Bowers.
There you have it.
It's maybe.
Let's
Can we just get there? Let's just get to Thursday, please.
Let's go to Alex in Old Forge. Alex.
What's up? What's going on, guys?
How you doing?
I'm doing good.
Good.
Yeah, so the Giants can't mess around. They got to get their quarterback this year. I know getting a receiver would be awesome and everything, but you can do that in free agency next year. If you go up and get Drake May right now, you're not going to have a first-rounder next year most likely. But you need your quarterback. We haven't had good quarterback play since Eli Manning.
But what if they don't like the quarterbacks?
But I think they do. That's the thing. I think that the reports say what they say. It could be a smokescreen. But I think Brian Dable looks at Drake May and sees Josh Allen. It's a perfect situation. He doesn't have to play the first year. Game time's in the last year of his contract. No guaranteed money after this season. Sit him for a year. All the good quarterbacks like Jordan Love, they sit. I know Jordan.
I am totally with you, Alex, as long as they like one of these quarterbacks. But you talk about the reports. Wasn't it 5 minutes ago they were going to trade up for McCarthy? And now they're going to trade up for May. Like, who do they like?
Well,
I don't know.
I think that's a backup plan. You know what I mean? Like, you go for Drake May. For me personally, like my dream scenario, get Drake May. If not, go with Neighbors. I would love the blue chip receiver. But I think you got to get a guy like that. You got to take chances. I mean, it's way harder to draft the quarterback than receiver.
But you can't take chances if you don't like the quarterback.
But I agreed with Ryan Clark about that. If you don't see what's there.
No, we don't. Listen, Alex, if they love one of these quarterbacks, by all means, you've got to do whatever you can. If you got to trade up to 3 to get them, you get them the same way they got Eli, right? Of course, he wanted Eli. He didn't care what he had to give up. He gave up the farm to be able to get him.
They like him, though.
But I don't know, because, again, you talk about the reports that they like Daniels. Well, May, 10 minutes ago, was, they're going to trade up for J.J. McCarthy. I don't know what to believe.
I think they like him, and I think that's the reason why you brought Brian Dable here in the first place, because this guy can develop quarterbacks.
Also, Alex, I don't think
make him an aggressive offer.
There's no way that they trade their 6th pick and a first rounder next year. They might trade two number 2s, a 2nd round pick. They're not giving a first round pick next year too. Well, they might not be good. They'll be giving away a high pick.
I don't know if it numerically matches anyway. I don't know if that's the quality. But do what you got to do to get the quarterback. Again, I don't know. How does anybody know? Like, no offense to the caller, but I think they like. How do you know?
Well, he's just guessing now. In terms of let's say they take the 6th pick, and our very own Jordan Ronan is reporting that they like Penix too. Graziano, they like Penix, so they can get Penix at 6 and not have to move. Now, in terms of the wide receiver. Did you see what Amon-Ra St. Brown signed for with the Lions today?
Lions, yeah.
4 years, $120 million. So now the price of wide receivers is $30 million a year. That's $77 million guaranteed. I'm telling you, a wide receiver is going to shake loose. Ayuk is going to shake loose. The 49ers can't pay him. Jefferson probably can't be paid by the Vikings. Mm-hmm. So you might not even have to waste a draft pick on a wide receiver. You might be able to get one. I mean, look at the price for Amon-Ra St. Brown's a good player, but $30 million a year?
I know, but you talk about them shaking loose, you're going to have to pay good money. I get a wide receiver, and I have to pay him for the first few years. They're talking about
yeah, but if you get a quarterback,
really
you're not going to have to pay him either.
But again, I gotta like the quarterback. Like
but that's obvious. Yeah,
right. But I'm just saying. So I would take Neighbors if I don't like any of the quarterbacks. But if I love the quarterback, you're right. Get the quarterback. There's no way you take a wide receiver over a quarterback that you love. But you'll definitely take a quarterback over a wide receiver that you love. That I agree with you. It's just that's the frustrating thing, guys, is who do they love? Now it's May. Before it was McCarthy. Now they like Penix.
Right, so what kind of love is it really love if you're not sure which one you love? You love them all so much.
It's like when people say, I really want to get married. So just to anybody? Or I thought you're supposed to find the woman and say, I want to marry her. And I was like, I want to get married.
A lot of people do that. They're trying to get married.
Well,
that's terrible. People do. Do you remember when?
And they're called the Browns and the Jets.
Exactly. Do you remember the episode of The Office when Michael Scott goes to Pam and he's like, Pam, I want to adopt a baby. And she's like, what? You do? He's like, yeah, I really want one. She's like, are you sure? It can take, it's really difficult. It can take as long as 10 months to even get on the list. He goes, I don't even know if I'm going to want one by then. Do you really want the baby? Do you really want the quarterback if you're changing your mind every couple of days?
Again, and I please do not take me the wrong way. There are a lot of people that I really respect that work their tail off to get this information. But why do I feel like they're all being played with? Now, they're probably talking to people that they really trust, that feel like they're not being used. But guys, if that were the case, would everybody be all over the place? They have the Giants attached to like 3-4 different quarterbacks. Somebody's obviously being lied to.
Let's go to Jimmy in Connecticut. Jimmy.
What's going on, guys? Listen, I think, believe it or not, you've talked before about how you think there's not that big a difference between these quarterbacks that come out of college and it's the organization that really shapes them. Mm-hmm. Well, if that's the case, if they have faith in their coaching regime, you got to remember, Daniel Jones went through 3 different head coaches. If they believe in this coaching staff, they need to draft a quarterback, in my opinion. So they have to have the confidence that they can shape whoever they take and do a
yeah, but Jimmy, you'd have to say that the quarterback has to have skills before they could shape him. You can't just draft somebody you don't like.
Well, no, if you don't like him, if you blatantly don't like him, I understand you won't take him, but all these guys have skill. Let's just be real. Maybe some of them are a little bit more skilled than others, but they all have arm talent. We talked about with Zach Wilson. They all have enough skill to be shaped into quarterbacks. It's really I really believe it's coaching. Coaching matters more in the NFL than any other sport. And I think they have to have faith in their regime that they can shape whatever they draft.
Okay, so you bring up a good point, but let me return serve with you. So this administration's good at developing quarterbacks. They didn't do anything for Daniel Jones last year.
But they're his third head. This is his third coaching regime.
Oh, yeah, but this was his second year with him, and they didn't do any. Before he got hurt, he was awful.
I understand.
They had their hands on him for 2 years.
I see your point. What I'm saying is they're beyond developing Daniel Jones, I feel like, at this point. This is going to be his 6th year in the league. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Listen, Jimmy, I'm with you. I've said it myself, that I don't think there's much of a difference between these quarterbacks. You just got to be drafted by the right place. So I agree with you there, but I also need my general manager to believe that he can get top first-round ability out of a guy. You're not taking a clay and molding it into a serviceable quarterback. If you trade up to 3 to get a quarterback, we're not talking about a nice quarterback. We're not talking about a decent quarterback. We're talking about a franchise quarterback to help win you a Super Bowl. A general manager's got to have the conviction. The way Ernie Accorsi looked at Eli Manning and said, I can win a Super Bowl with that guy. The way he wanted John Elway. That's what you need, not just, hey, it's a quarterback, I'll work with him. Did you hear the story yesterday? First time I'd ever read this, that John Mara didn't want to make the deal for Eli because he didn't want to throw in the 5th-round pick. Mm-hmm. And somebody from his family said, if you think this is the guy, you can't let a 5th-round pick stand in the way of your guy. So he gave in, but he did not want to. So, I mean, in terms of what you're saying, if you love the guy, you got to give up what you have to give up. Right. You move heaven and earth because that's the guy you think is going to be the game changer. But if it's somebody you don't feel that way for, you have to really ask yourself, is it now worth it? Right. Then you shouldn't go the extra mile if it's somebody that you're lukewarm on. Exactly. Now, what I don't know, because it was insinuated earlier in the show by one of the sound we played, was Daniel Jones, hey, we need a quarterback. He's here at 6. Let's take him. Or was it Gettleman saying, I'm in full-blown love. I love this guy. I have to take him. I think it was that. Because a lot of people said they should have waited until the 17th pick and taken him. I agree. I think they loved him. They were wrong, but I can't kill Gettleman if he really loved him. Hey, listen, it's his job on the line. You will get fired if you get this wrong. We agree on that? If the Giants trade up to 3, take Drake May, and he doesn't work out, Joe Shane will lose his job at some point. I mean, Joe Douglas is going to lose his job soon, Michael, if they don't start winning. The primary reason is going to be because of the pick of Zach Wilson. He put himself behind and he's made some really good moves. Even the trade for Zach Wilson's a steal. Something about Joe Douglas making trades is amazing.
He is able to throw garbage away and get money back in return.
He's the guy that can trade a paperclip and in 2 months get a house. Like, he's got that ability, but
still, if you don't get the quarterback
right, he'll end up losing his job one day, and the main reason is going to be because he took Zach Wilson 2 overall.
Francisco Lindor with a 2-run home run from the left side.
Welcome.
Left side. So the Mets are up 2-0. That's in the third. Don, I know, there was a president that was very heavy. And could
Taft?
not. Yeah, he couldn't fit in a bath. I think he died that way. Coming up.